producing agents, professional agents, want to be around other professionals, other producing agents.
Hello everyone, Sergio Tiffer here, and welcome back to Cracking the Code, the podcast where we dive into real strategies that move the needle in your business. Today, I'm joined by a guest who's helping lead the #1 locally owned and operated brokerage in Louisiana. Nick Thompson is the Director of Operations at Reve Realtors, an impressive and fast-growing brokerage. With a strong presence in New Orleans and rapid expansion into Baton Rouge and Northshore, Reve has proven that growth doesn't require a franchise. It just takes vision, leadership, and execution. In just the past year, they've opened 2 new offices entirely self-funded and built from the ground up, a true testament to their culture, systems, and relentless drive. Nick, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Nick, how you doing? Thanks for joining me today, man. I appreciate it so much.
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. I was looking forward to this conversation for a long time. I told my team that I really wanted to get you on the podcast for a long time because I admire what you guys have down there in Louisiana's market. And we were just chatting about that you guys have the #1 locally owned brokerage in Louisiana. And that's something, so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, how that even happened. And I know we're jumping right into the conversation, but I was very curious about that situation with you guys.
Yeah, so the way it happened, I mean, our story, we've only been around for about 7 years now. And it started with 4 top producing real estate agents who couldn't find a brokerage that they loved as far as the way that they wanted to work. So they got together and they planned for, 2 years. They just kept planning and planning and planning. So they met with consultants, they did it the right way. And they recruited people and started off with about 30 agents total. And then they slowly grew. I came on 3 years ago. Okay. And we went from about 120 agents who were stuck there for a while to now we're almost at 203 offices. So it happened. It's been interesting. We've being the local brand in our market has really resonated with agents. We've gotten a lot of agents that we recruit, of course, but people just calling us, top producing agents who have called us and said, we want to come to a brokerage that's local, that's grown locally. It's not part of a national brand. It's not part of a national corporation. The owners of the business are in the room. So it's been a journey that's just really been rooted in one, creating a great brand and a great place, good word of mouth from agents, but secondarily is just the idea that we are local and we're modern compared to some of the old dinosaurs that have been in the market before. So,
how is that market in Louisiana? How dynamic is it? Is it a slow market, seller's market, buyer's market?
So it's getting to be a little bit more balanced. For about a year and a half, it's been a buyer's market. Convincing sellers of that has not been easy, but yeah, it's been a buyer's market for about a year and a half, and we've gone deep down, like just a slope, a really, really steep slope, and it's starting to, we feel like we're starting to come out of it. It's getting balanced again. Inventory is more normal, 6 months, 5 months. We're not in that 8 months of inventory anymore where we were for a minute. So yeah, it's getting better.
That's getting better. And how do you get into real estate initially? Because you're right now, your role in the company is you're running all the operations, right? You're not precisely coaching agents and whatnot, if I understood correctly.
That's right. So I'm the director of operations. I actually got into real estate a little bit by accident. I came from an entrepreneurial family. My parents own their business. I grew up working in their business. And then when I've worked for a couple of different companies around. And then once my wife and I decided to open a retail shop, knowing nothing about retail, and kind of grew this local retail shop for a while. And then we sold our house, and I actually really enjoyed it. And owning the retail shop, I had some bandwidth, so I joined the team of agents who sold my house. I got my license and did that. Yeah, and then I went away from the team, became an independent agent for a while. And then I was recruited to be a listing agent for a national brand. And they looked at my resume and they needed a manager for the market. And that's how I got into operations and real estate. And I've enjoyed it.
Do you enjoy being in the background in operations a little bit more than just being, out front and getting listings and buyers?
I do. It's funny. I really enjoy making life easier for agents. I've done it through coaching, sales coaching in the past, and now I'm doing it through working with systems, teaching them systems, and really making sure that there's no friction for them when they're out there selling. So everything from bringing TCs in house to making sure the software that we're using is easy, that we have really great training on it, that we have everything documented, and watching agents grow. And I think and watching the business grow. I mean, honestly, like really watching this brokerage go from this little local 100 agent brokerage to 3 offices. We're about to open 2 more offices, so it'll be 5 offices across the area. And yeah, that's part of what energizes me, gets me excited.
Absolutely. And then what do you think make a team or teams work in general? Because like you said, you guys started with 4 top producing agents, and then you recruited about 30 and then 100, and you kind of stuck there for a little while. But now, you're up north of 300 agents, if I'm not mistaken. What does it make a team work? And then also, you guys are considered a high performing team. I mean, this is a very large team to having 300 plus agents within your team. Do you chisel your values on stones and put it in everyone's desk? Like, what do you guys do?
No, I think it's really. It is a testament to culture. When we started, we would not take any new agents. It was only producing agents, professionals, and that's been our thing. Is that we want professional agents. We don't want hobbyists. We don't want part-timers, really full-time all the time, because of people who know what they're doing. They do the best for the consumers in the market. And I think that being selective in that way has gone a long way toward it. But the other thing that I think, there's 2 different teams aspects. There's a team of like an agent team, and then there's a team of the operations team that we have on the back end for the brokerage. But in both cases, I think that communication, defined clear roles and expectations every day is what really makes it work well. So we make sure that we are communicating, that we're all rowing in the same direction all the time, and that we each have defined roles. Even though in real estate you're wearing 100 different hats at different times.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all, when we have a project that we're working on, we know who's doing what. We know what's expected of us. And I think it's true for agent teams. I watch agent teams who are really dysfunctional, and I've watched agent teams do it really, really well. And I think the ones who do it well have really clearly defined expectations and roles. Everything's written out, and they run it like a business. They don't run it like a group of friends trying to sell real estate. It is a business, and everybody has a role. So I think that's been for us, we've learned a lot. We are all learning every day, how to make this work, how to make sure that we're providing the best services for agents and for clients. And I think part of that is just an eagerness, a willingness to learn. It's education's baked into our DNA. So.
And have you been in a position where you have to, let's ask you straightforward, how many agents have you fired?
So we fired, I would say last year we fired about 10%. 10%.
That's not too drastic. I thought you were going to say like 20, 30.
No. It was only about 10%. We went to them and, we said, here's the expectations. But one of the things that we did do was we started a second brokerage, a referral brokerage. So those agents who weren't full-time, who weren't putting it in, weren't selling, but they still had contacts and they wanted to still earn a living, we offered them a chance to go into our referral brokerage. They didn't need to be a member of the association. You don't need to be a member of the MLS. You go there and you refer your business to an active agent with Rev. And that's worked really well. So we've kept those folks in the fold. And if they ever decide to go back to full-time selling, they're welcome back.
They're back. Yeah. Because I found that a lot of teams suffer from high rotation, especially, and maybe in hotter markets, the agents don't like something, whatever that is. And then they just jump off the bandwagon and go somewhere else. Or that they sell a couple houses and they feel that they did very well. And then they just go inactive for 6 months and they just go to Bali for vacation.
Yeah, we definitely have, we've experienced that. And I think that's the ongoing conversations that our broker is having with them frequently. They know what the expectations are. They know that they have to sell a certain amount to stay active with us. And I think that the philosophy behind that is that top producing agents, professional agents, want to be around other professionals, other producing agents. So when you have half of your roster as non-producers, hobbyists, people there that are there for the donuts, then it really does water down your culture. Your producing agents stop. They kind of check out. They're doing their own thing. They're still producing, but they're no longer driving culture. They're no longer, really involved in the day-to-day. I mean, we're very fortunate that most of our top producers they come to the office regularly. They're working in the office, and they're very generous with their time and their knowledge. So, we want to make sure to protect that. We don't want to be a place where people come and hang out. They're not professionals. This is a business. And I think that that's part of that culture, and protecting that culture is of utmost importance. And that means, unfortunately, asking people to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about value. Value, you as an operation manager of Reve Realtors, you can provide a lot of values to other, teams that are trying to achieve what you guys have done. And not a lot of teams do have an operation manager, because a lot of them, the team is being run by the team leader and a few VAs, and that's about it, right? But you guys have a very well structured. I mean, you guys have a CEO, you guys have an operation manager, you guys have sales managers and whatnot. So what are some of the systems and tools that you use to maintain this very well-oiled machine that is Reve Realtors? Go ahead.
Yes. So we've taken the approach, there's a number of pieces to this, but the first part is our tech stack. We've taken the approach of best-in-class tech stack. We don't have it all in one system. So we've been able to make sure that in every one of those, we have the easiest and best piece of software that our agents can use, whether it's from transaction management or marketing, as much assistance as we can give them. But then when something changes, when something rolls out, we can change piecemeal. We don't have to change the entire system, which means that there's less disruption to the agents. But I would say that as far as value for our agents, the main thing that we have provided is education. We have, upwards of 15 different things going on every week, live, virtual, hybrid of both. We have national speakers that we bring in. We're doing a Ninja installation first week of December for our agents. We've gotten, title companies, lenders, the kind of your things, but we bring people in, we educate, we provide that for our agents. And we have our top producers also come in and they'll hold roundtables. And I think that value, that is what people really, really love. And we make sure that, again, I mentioned it earlier, but education is always at the top. We want people who are curious. We want people who are constantly getting better, who are constantly striving to know not what's happening now, but what's happening next.
And then you think that's the number one factor that is attracting these high-performing agents to Reve Realtors?
I think it's a combination of that, and like I mentioned before, it being local. And our CEO, myself, all of our stakeholders and our leadership are available. We have an open door policy. We're here in the office every day. We don't work remote. They're always welcome to come in. And I think that top performing agents really, really do want that line of communication, because they know this business. They know what's working, what's not working. And when they come to us and say, hey, what we really need is this form or this education or this software or get rid of this software or this isn't, more training on this. We listen and we do it. I mean, we're there, we're open. So I think that collaboration is really important. We don't look at it as a one, the communication there is two ways, and we take what they say to heart, and we make sure that this is the best place for them. And a lot of that has to do with listening to them. And I've talked to a lot of top producers. Actually, we recruited a $100 million team a couple months ago, which is how we opened one of our offices. And the reason that they came over was because they wanted to be heard. They wanted to be part of it. They didn't want the CEO to be someone living in Arizona or wherever it is. And that was a big factor. I mean, that was like their number one factor. And I think our reputation and our brand, is strong. So that's why they're looking at us in the first place. We've created a really, really good organization, a really strong brand, and that attracts eyeballs. But then when they really start thinking of what they want in their business, that's part of what it is. They want partnership.
They want partnership. So if I understood correctly, you have your team, which you recruit directly, and then you have your brokerage that you let teams come on board and use your environment, your services, et cetera, right? That's the way you have it structured right now.
Well, so what we have is we're Reve Realtors as a brokerage, and we have teams that can operate under it. We also have a lot of individual agents who are operating under it. So it works. We've developed more resources for teams. When we first started out, it was a lot of individual producers, and we've gotten more. I think teams are becoming more and more the way in real estate, less so individual producers. So we've created systems that make that work.
Yeah, absolutely. And then and you bring a very different view of real estate, because I've talked to coaches, Jeff Mays, John Shipley, and they have their own vision of their number one thing that everyone should do. But then, if you were to within operations, what is the number one thing that you think every operator? Because we all know, like I mentioned before, not every team, not every company has an operator. Sometimes it's very ad hoc, and people are, like you said, are wearing different hats. But, as an operator, what is the number one thing that you think any operator that's running a real estate team should do?
Well, I think that the number one thing that you have to do is you have to have repeatable systems that you can document and share with everyone. So when you have people come in, there's going to be churn on some level, whether it's from an operations or from a salesperson perspective. So you have all of that stuff in place. It takes all the friction away. You can replace people. People can come in and they can jump right into selling. And that's been one of the things that we've learned and developed and continue to develop, because things change all the time. It's a big deal when agents come on, especially top producing agents. They're coming on, they might have 20 listings on the market. They've got 6, 7, 10 things. So we've developed systems that are repeatable, that we can just take care of all that for them. They come on board, they keep selling, and there's no confusion. And if I'm out for the week because I'm on vacation 2 weeks, it's all there. Someone else can do it. I think that from an operational standpoint, you have to have systems that are repeatable, that are documented, and the goal being removing friction.
Remove friction. And, when you say the systems, I'm assuming that you're also doing some automations, even as far as using AI, I'm not sure. I was listening the other day to an interview of Telegram owner and CEO, and he said that he's doing a lot of automation and he has a lot of AI integrated into Telegram, but that has removed the human component a lot in his company. Are you experiencing any of that? Like, by trying to implement automations, are you running lean or leaner because of it?
So we run very, very lean, and we have always run lean. We have the same number of staff that we had when we had 100 agents. So we've not grown our staff, but we've grown our agent count. And part of that is using automation. and being smart about it. So I don't know if mentioning products is okay, but one of the things things that we implemented was we started using Hiver, which is a ticketing system for support that integrates with Gmail. And the great thing about the way Hiver works is there's an AI bot inside of it. So you can go and pull all the information. But when you set it, like the way we've set it up is that someone calls in, they're like, hey, or writes in and they're like, hey, how do I X? I can like start writing the email, and then the AI bot will go pull from all of our resources and it'll put the email together and I can send it. Still coming from me. So it's making it that
it's a lot quicker, right?
But it's a lot faster. So we don't need 3 people watching that support. We can have one person doing it because we have the AI bot helping, but we're connecting it to that human interaction. So they don't feel like again, we want to be local. We want to be personal. Relationships are important. So we never want to be, and there's a lot of brokerages who are tech forward, and they're great. But I do think that human connection for many people is still very important. And we want to keep that. We don't want to ever go into an full-on automated thing. But we want it available for people who do like that. And so we have our AI bot in Hiver that they can go to directly. And they can look it up themselves. I mean, I'm that person. I'm like, I don't want a human. Just give me the bot. Please let it know what it's doing. But that's not, I don't know. Real estate agents are different.
Yeah, I know. Now, and you mentioned quite a few times in this conversation that you guys are very proud to be local. So speaking about the future itself, where do you see real estate going in 3 to 5 years? And now, if you guys want to stay local, does that mean that you guys only want to grow locally? So you guys are not planning to go anywhere else? Is that what you're saying?
So I'll answer the first part first, and then I'll go into the second part. As far as what I see in 3 to 5 years, I do think that AI will continue to become more and more prevalent. And I think it's going to be both from a brokerage standpoint, but also for consumers. I mean, just from like as simple as doing a CMA, if you feed the comps into even ChatGPT right now, it can do an amazing CMA for you, and they're pretty accurate. So
yes, they are. I'm using one right now that what you do is you go into the MLS, and then you give it essentially you just click the link from the MLS, you put it into the AI, and it gives you pull all the comps, gives you the CMA, and do all sorts of comparison. And it's crazy because I do it manually, and 95% of the time is right, or right on the money, like 5,000 less or more, but it's right there. And
that's the thing, is that it can pull so much information so fast. It can do all that math so fast. And I've done the same thing. I've gone in, done it manually, put it into the AI thing, and it's so close. So I think that's going to continue to get more and more accurate as time goes on. So now that's a service that agents provide that we may not need to provide anymore. They're going to.
Do you think we're going to need less real estate agents in the near future because of AI?
Are we going to need a list, you said?
No, I was saying that, do you think we're going to need less real estate agents because of AI in general? Because, there are a lot of real estate agents that are licensed, FYI. People know this, but and some of them do not sell anything throughout a year, or maybe one house, right? So
it is, I will say this. We've seen a lot of disruption, a lot of disruptors in real estate, and I've learned over my 15 plus years, which I know is a short amount of time compared to a lot of people, but this is a hard rock to move. I mean, people are entrenched the way that things have been done forever. However, just like the map-based search changed everything for buyers, I think AI is going to do that 100 times more. And I do think there's going to be fewer real estate agents. I think there's going to be some specialized fields that develop for in real estate where you may not be the person who is putting a sign in the yard for someone to sell their home. Maybe you're working more in the background, being the AI expert for real estate. I think there's going to be some stuff like that. I think it's going to consolidate as far as the number of agents, and the agents who are left are going to have to do higher volume. And we've already seen commissions get squeezed, and the more that technology gets involved, the less consumers are going to be willing to pay for the human element, because they're going to say, well, what are you doing exactly? If the computer is doing the CMA, if the computer is sending out all of the marketing materials, if all of that's happening on that, and why, I'm going to offer you less. So in order to make a true living in this industry, I think agents are going to have to do a higher volume. And there may be an element of, and we're going to continue to consolidate. I mean, I think you're going to end up with some boutique brokerages who are like very specialized in types of properties, say luxury. And I think you're going to end up with larger brokerages. And
are you guys prepared for it? In Reve?
We're working toward it. I mean, we're preparing because we don't know exactly what, it's going to be. But one of the things that we've, really been positioning ourselves for is making sure that as these things come up, we also are in that space. I watch a lot of brokerages try to fight. I watched them do it with Zillow. I'm like, that is a monster that you will not slay. Go and work with them, use them. I mean, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, you can have it as an extra income. I mean, you don't have to fight it. You can have it, use it, and it doesn't necessarily has to be 50% of your income. It could be 10%, just like another product.
When the buyer brokerage agreements, for instance, this is like our philosophy. Buyer brokerage agreements came down, becoming mandatory. They weren't mandatory yet. No one else in the market was doing it. All I kept seeing and hearing from agents and brokers and everyone was, this is stupid. I can't believe these lawsuits, blah, blah. And I said, in our brokerage, and we were just like, you know what? It doesn't matter what we think about it. It is what it is. Let's institute it now. So we went ahead and instituted it 6 months before anyone else. And it really made our agents feel comfortable with it, and we educated them. We brought in trainers that really knew that, the legal aspect of it. And so I think as we go forward with AI and seeing what changes are coming, the way we position ourselves is embrace change. It's going to keep changing. We embrace it. We want to be the first to do it, not the last, or not being dragged along. And I think agents appreciate that, because that means that they're never blindsided. We've warned them way before it happens that this is the thing, and here's the training that you're going to need on it. And that keeps us moving forward. I think that just our CEO. I mean, is he 40? He might have turned 40. I always say he's 37. I say he's 37 because that's what he was.
I'm 37, by the way.
Yeah. So he might have turned 40. But the point is that, still young and wants to be modern and progressive. And
full of ideas.
Full of ideas and more ideas than we have bandwidth to implement. But
absolutely. Well, you know what they say: try a lot of stuff and keep what works.
Yeah. And we've done that. I mean, we do our annual survey of agents, and one time, one of the things that we'll get sometimes is pump the brakes. Just stop offering new stuff, stop implementing new things. And we're like, okay, I hear you. That's fine.
I get it. So we sidetrack here a little bit. So growth. What are you guys planning, just to stay local forever and ever?
So that local is where we are now, and we plan on staying local in the sense that we'll probably grow regionally. We're going to grow more in Louisiana and some on the Gulf Coast, Mississippi Gulf Coast, some Florida Gulf Coast. We already have agents in those areas working. We don't have offices, but they're working, and they're working under our brand. So as we grow, we still have a lot of space to grow here. We're in 3 markets right now. We're adding 2 more offices soon, but we have so much space left to grow locally that I would say that would be our goal. And look, from a philosophical standpoint, I mean, there's a business where you go, you know what, if we just have 8,000 agents, we'll be rich. And then, or but then there's the philosophical standpoint, which is like real estate is local. And if we're going to be the best, we don't have to grow to 8,000 agents. We don't have to grow to 17 states in order to make this successful and to make sure that we're providing great service. And I think that is our philosophy, is that we want to be the experts in our area and we want to differentiate ourselves in that way. We're never going to compete with EXP or Compass.
Well, you don't want to, I guess. I mean, that's not your philosophy.
That's not our philosophy. That's not what we're trying to be. Actually, the brand that Compass took over locally, they had about 4,000 agents, and they had been around for over 100 years, and they were independent. They were an independent, and so they were extremely successful. 4,000 agents, and stayed local. Yeah, and stayed local. And I mean, for 100 years until, Compass made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
Well, after 100 years, I'm sure some of the founders are not around, and then the kids, right. They were like, I don't know. I'm not as passionate about as in real estate as my father was, probably, or my grandfather was, right?
Yeah. So if we can make it to 100 years with 4,000 agents, I feel like that'll be success.
Absolutely. So, well, you and I met through T360, I believe, right?
Yes.
The coaching company, and I have a virtual assistant company. So I have to ask this all the time on my podcast is, how have you incorporated virtual assistants within realtors? Because I know there's a hot topic out there. If you go to any real estate group, they're like, give me a referral for a VA company, ISA company, marketing company, blah, blah, but not everyone, it's a good fit for a VA. And what I'm trying to say with this is, if you have a hard time managing people in office, you're going to have an even a harder time managing someone virtual. So your fundamentals have to be on point. And in your case, they are. So how is it that you're implementing these virtual assistants within Reels?
So when it came to virtual assistants, T360, as you mentioned, were the ones who started talking about it for us, kind of introduced us to this idea. We had never done it. We were talking about staffing. We were talking about the cost of staffing. We were talking just a lot of different things. And T360 had mentioned that they were seeing a lot of brokerages use VAs. We're very skeptical. And my CEO way more so than me. And I said, look, let's try it out. It's not a long commitment. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And I will say that the skepticism was that how do we form relationships? How do we talk to people who are not here? How are we going to manage people? How are we going to ensure that the work's being done? And our first VA that we had was a transaction coordinator with VOOV. And she
what's her name? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Oh, it's Luana.
Yes. Luana, yes. That's right.
Yeah. And she came on and was, eager to learn. She kind of just went through everything. And I was shocked, honestly. This is crazy, but I was shocked at how quickly she was able to just roll with it, because she had never worked in real estate. She had never worked in Louisiana. She had never worked in Louisiana real estate. And, and I think it's a testament to what you guys have done. I mean, she had a lot of stuff that she worked on before we even started working with her. And then she's just obviously very smart and eager and a hard worker. So much so that we've actually transitioned her more into our compliance officer. So she's now reviewing all contracts. And she does an amazing job. Then when we went to, we needed to expand further, we hired Jennifer Real, who's our director of marketing. She's there. And then we added our finance director, Sylvana. And so the three of them work together, and they have their own little, team, and they're on our meetings, and they're integrated well. And it's funny how quickly everyone here just started assuming them as part of the team. So people will say like, Acevedo or Lano, they just talk about them as if they're just here. That
right,
they're not. They're not, but they're like, they know that, but they've really, involved. And I think that, and I will say this about VAs, forget about cost, forget about any of that. One of the things that's worked so well is that they get to specialize. And so no one who works in the office can specialize. I mean, I'm getting interrupted 800 times a day. And when I was doing finance, it was taking up all of my bandwidth because it was just so many things. Having someone take those tasks off and just to be able to sit and do that and specialize, it creates fewer mistakes. Efficiency is there. Efficiency is there because now they're experts in that area. There's just been so many positive things that have come out of it that I wasn't expecting. And I mean, the initial impetus was cost savings, but
yeah, of course.
But that is only the tip of the value that is provided.
Yeah, I tell that to my clients a lot. I use a lot of VAs for very specialized things. We were discussing about my flipping business at the beginning before we started the call. And my flipping company is being run by 2 VAs. And we do about 40 to 45 houses every year. And that's a few $1 million in revenue right there. They've been run by 2 VAs. And people are like, how come? I mean, they're not there. It's like, well, we have systems in place and they became very specialized at what they do. One of them is doing all the operations. She runs all the vendors, suppliers. She gets the layout and building plan from the contractor, and then she runs with it. And the other one is the lead generator guy. He's specialized in follow-up boss. He is an expert in API. He's an expert in automations, and he ensures that all my ISAs, because I also have ISAs, that all the ISAs are on point. And then I get a reporting, and all I do in that company is negotiate contracts. So when a new lead comes in, I don't even talk to the lead until we inspect the property. Once we inspect the property and get a budget, then I know if it's a feasible deal or not. And then I can call the seller and say, hey, let's negotiate, blah, blah, blah. That takes me 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? And then once the property is put on the market, I negotiate the contracts with the buyers. And that takes me another 10, 15 minutes with the agents that we use. That's about it. Everything else has been run by the VAs. And we have a property management company that is almost run entirely by the VAs, and one is a leasing coordinator, the other one is a repair maintenance and maintenance coordinator, and so like you said, everyone is very, very specialized at what they do, and they get to exploit that even further, right? And
that's one of the things that like we've with our finance person. So she's right now doing all of our reconciliations. She's doing all of our transactions, paying out agents every day, doing that. She's fully 100% is on her plate. And my next thing is I'm going to move property management to her. The finance part, not the management part of the properties, because we have property managers, but the finance part to her. And when I tell you that she is so much, well, first of all, she has a degree in accounting, so we'll start there, which I don't, but I was doing it. And so she's so much better at it than me. I was like, and I'm just, that's where I get excited, is because it's not just the cost savings or anything. I was like, they're value add. I mean, they're like complete value add to the team. Our marketing director, who, is just brilliant, and she's just coming up with, things all the time. And we meet with her, and she's often running on her own. And we are, Luana is doing TC work or compliance work or, anything that we need with contracts. And I've just been, I don't know, I've been kind of floored by how much of a difference it's made. And like, here's the thing, I couldn't even find these people locally.
No, I know that's one of the things, and I run my companies the same way because one of the cost component is very important, but then finding the talent, and then you may find it, but retain the talent is another thing, right? Because they get offers from other companies that are $50,000-$60,000 more than yours, and then off they go, right? So retaining them for the long term could be very complicated sometimes, even if you find the talent locally.
Yeah, and I just think that it just makes so much sense. I mean, it just, the world is flat. And so I think we're a local brokerage, like our focus is local, but as far as operations is concerned, just get the best talent. Get the best talent that you
wherever
can get,
they are.
Wherever they are, because they don't need to be in the office. They don't need to be face to face with a client.
Well, they are in an office. For
well,
that sake.
they are in office. They don't need to be in our office.
Yeah, for the people that don't know, we offer VAs that are in office. So they and Nick's girls, because they're all girls, they are in an office and their own silo that sit very nearby. So that's I think was one of the components that made it easier for you guys, because they are in their own silo. They work side by side pretty much. So,
And then, we have, especially our finance and our compliance person. So those are tied together. So if Sylvana's missing a document and she's like closing a transaction, she's like, wait a minute, what's going on with this? Where's this? She can just turn next to her, and just
right.
Say, hey,
exactly. Which people are very accustomed. People are very accustomed to virtual assistants being, at home. You have the dog barking next to them, or
right.
The baby crying, and there's a motorcycle outside. So there's a lot of unprofessionalism that people tie to virtual assistants, because a lot of them are maybe in Philippines, Vietnam, and they have these not so professional environments, and they're just at home taking care of the baby while working and whatnot.
And I will say that is very important. Was very important. Was a bonus is that they're in the same time zone as us. But the other thing that was very important was that we wanted to make sure that if we were working with VAs, that we were doing it ethically, or however we want to call it. Like, we weren't going to some farm where people were being paid, like, underpaid for what they were doing. They weren't earning a living, really. And I feel like, you and I discussed it a bunch of like how, you make sure that people are being adequately compensated. It's still less than what they would cost in the United States, but they're being compensated well, and
for local standards,
For local standards, that's what I mean. And that was very important. I mean, it's important for so many reasons, but we don't want to ever, feel like we're going to, take advantage of anyone. But also, in order to get the people that we have at their skill level, they're not.
Yes.
You can't pay. If you get what you pay for, in a way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is that
right.
We want to make sure that we're getting qualified, people who are educated, who are being treated well, and I feel like every conversation I have with our group, they all seem happy, and that's really important. I think it makes our customers happy. It makes our agents happy. It makes me happy.
Absolutely. We're almost wrapping up. So if you could give one takeaway to everyone in the real estate, what would that be?
If I could give one takeaway, as far as in what area?
And whatever you think is the most important area that you can give you can give to anyone as an advice, just in general.
I think my advice to anyone in real estate is that 50% of your time has to be given to education. You have to continue to learn. You have to continue to get better. I do it as director of operations. Our CEO does it. Our marketing, everyone in operations is constantly learning. We're always on calls, finding out what's new. We're going to the conventions to see what's out there. And from an agent's perspective, it's the same thing. There's education means a lot of things. Selling 100 houses, but also knowing your contract, knowing your rules, knowing your ethics, and then also, technology, is always advancing. So staying on top of that. I have agents who are, anytime we offer a new technology, they're like freaked out. They're ready to like put their head under covers and like whatever. And I'm like, guys, like this is your job. This is your job. Like, how are you not? So staying on top of it. And I don't know, I think this kind of like translates across the board. I don't know if this is real estate, but I just think education is so important. Educate yourself, learn everything you can. It gives you an edge. And that's, that's my
absolutely. And we're gonna put here all your contact information for Instagram, Facebook, for your company. So any agents that may happen to see and watch this episode can, reach out to you guys and join a very reputable, locally owned brokerage like Reve Realtors. I appreciate you very much, Nick, for coming on this session and for sharing and letting me pick your brain and sharing all your knowledge. Appreciate it, man.
I had a great time. This is awesome. I would do it anytime. And I look forward to listening to those other episodes with those guys you told me about.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Nick, thank you for giving us a peek behind the curtain of one of the Louisiana's most impressive brokerages. Your perspective on scaling, leadership, and operation is incredibly valuable to anyone looking to grow smart and stay rooted in culture. And to our audience, thank you for joining us on another episode of Cracking the Code. If this conversation sparked ideas or insights for your business, make sure to follow, like, share, and leave a comment. We appreciate your support in bringing more high-level guests like Nick to the show. Until the next time, keep building with purpose, keep evolving, and keep cracking the code.